Hi everyone, Russ Curran here with Look Within, and today we're going to sit with the owner of Nourish Restaurant right here. And Nourish Restaurant is a raw, vegan, vegetarian, all organic establishment. And that's why we're here, because that's what I'm all about. That's what my wife and I and my daughter are all about. And we want to help people promote businesses that promote good nutrition. So we're going to go inside. We're going to meet Kirsten Carey, who is the owner. And we're going to hear her story, and then we're going to talk to Dan Santos, who is the executive chef. So stay tuned as we head on into Nourish. Thanks. I'm here with a great find. My wife and I, Kathy, just about a couple of weekends ago, there was a wonderful event happening at this particular establishment, which we're going to talk about, that introduced Dr. T. Colin Campbell, who is the co-author of the China Study, which really changed our lives. And we like to support like-minded establishments that support proper nutrition. So that's what finds us here today. And we're here with the owner and founder, Kirsten Carey, and also the executive chef, Dan Santos. And I think we'd just like to start by asking Kirsten, tell us about Nourish, your establishment, and why people should come to Nourish.
People should come to Nourish if they really want to see real, good for you, but really good tasting. We opened because I found out I had a food allergy to wheat, and since discovered that I had celiac disease. That's how it all started. I was standing on my little feet one day saying, it's too hard to eat out, and it's not fair. And my ex-husband, my husband at the time, was vegan, and the two of us eating out was a complete nightmare. We could never get a straight answer on what was in food, and I felt like a freak at the table all the time. So I shut down my very successful consulting business to open a restaurant, the worst economy I've ever seen. So that was super smart. But it seems to be working because there's a lot of other people out there that are also freaks at the table who need something to eat. So we have healthy, good for you food that also tastes good. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Well, we can vouch for the food. The food is amazing here, and you can see how beautiful and colorful it is. And you just look and you feel healthier just looking at the food. And speaking of the food, the creator of the food, right here at the end, why don't you tell how you met and how that relationship developed?
Let's see. When I decided to open the restaurant, I thought I was going to be the executive chef because I had 9 months of serving experience 20 years ago at a restaurant. And then my intelligence got there and knew that I wasn't supposed to do that, so I could cook, and a lot of the recipes we started were mine. I knew better than to try to run a restaurant and be the executive chef. So I put a blanket Craigslist ad out for every employee. We had 400 people apply. 200 people showed up for the interviews, and we narrowed down to 100 second interviews, but Dan was one of the people who showed up. And he was pretty much the polar opposite of what I thought I was looking for. I thought I just needed some guy who I would give all the recipes to, and he was just going to manage the kitchen and cook some stuff. But Dan showed up in his chef's uniform and saw their job, and who is this guy? But the second he sat down and we started talking, I knew there was just a good synergy there. And the guy I was working with at the time, who was my restaurant consultant, he was like, you found it. So fortunately, we were able to negotiate something that worked for both of us. And I don't know, there's just something about the energy between us. We were born in the same year, but he's definitely older in some ways, so that's clear. We graduated from the same year from high school, different cities, of course. But so we've got some other background that kind of makes sense. But we get each other. So he runs my kitchen, and he runs it like a biz, and I run the rest of the restaurant.
Awesome. And what's your background?
I have 25 years in food service. It's actually all I've ever done. From the time I was 15, since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to cook. I asked my dad one day, did I ever say I wanted to be a policeman or fireman or whatever? And he said, no. All you've ever wanted to do is cook. I never ran around like other little boys do. On Saturdays, I was down and watch Great Chefs and like Justin Wilson. Seriously, after lunch, I would sit down and watch PBS and watch all the Jacques Pepin and Julia Child and all these people. And I was just amazed that what they could do with food. And obviously at the time, food was different, butters and everything, cream was anything, which I'm a fan of. I think it has its place. But then I started my career, and I cooked in the Navy on a submarine for 4 years. Cooked in different aspects of food service. I've cooked in business industry and education and healthcare. And healthcare, I think, is where I got the biggest idea that what was occurring isn't what needed to continue to occur. Because you go to a hospital, and generally it's the hospital food, it comes in bland. And well, unless you have a diet that says you have to eat bland, non-tasting food, there's a reason for it. So the hospital that I ran, the food service department on, I was very adamant with my cooks. Look, if you're making spaghetti and meatballs, let's make the meatballs the right way. And then you can season and flavor it. And if someone is, low on salt, we'll make meatballs for them, separately. And then they're still getting the same recipe, just less salt. That's not that hard to do. And so just through the years, I've worked in different places, and like Kirsten said, she posted that in Craigslist, and it's one of those things, and we both firmly believe in this, that things happen for your life when they're supposed to, and you're on a path and that kind of stuff. And just the job I was working at, doing research and development, I enjoyed it very, very much because I think that way. But the owner, who was the top boss, she didn't understand what I did in any way and didn't want to understand it. So it didn't jive, it didn't work, and so I was like, I gotta find a new job, and I looked up Craigslist, and Kirsten's dad was there, and I sent my resume, and I got an email back, can you come on Monday at this time? And I took a long lunch, and I came in, and I didn't come in chef's clothes on purpose. It's just what I wore to work. But if I would have been that, I'd have been in a suit that's appropriate. And I walked in, and I was the third interview or something like that, and everybody else was 5 minutes in and out because I was watching. They were in, talked a little bit, shake hands, walk out, make notes. I was in for 20 minutes. And it wasn't on purpose. It was just the way Kirsten was asking questions that were relevant to the position, as was John. I was asking questions. I had done my research, which I don't think anybody else had done what I had done when I knew her name. I Googled it. And I went to her website of her consulting company and read the entire website, watched every video, because I wanted to know who I could possibly work for one day. That's what you do. And so, which was funny because that was one of the key questions she asked everybody. Have you looked at our website? And I had looked at... Yeah, I had looked at our entire website. I looked at every menu, every page, every link, everything. So I knew it. And so, I ended up here, and things work, and food changes as we change.
Yeah. You can tell by the menu what's going on in our personal lives too. I mean, as I continue to find the healthiest version of food for me, because since then I've also discovered I can't have dairy and I can't have eggs. For a while I couldn't have a bunch of food, but I learned how to get myself to heal itself, so there was a bunch of food I got back. But during that journey I was going, I went plant-based completely for a while, and I went completely raw for a while, and then your wife went completely raw for a while. You've done the raw vegan thing. So we've gone through all of these different types of ways to eat to find out what works best for us personally. And in that journey, we found that there's some things that work better for our customers too. So that's why you see on our menu, you see raw plant-based options, you see just plant-based options, but you also see very clean animal protein options. So you'll see wild salmon only, and you'll see grass-fed beef if you see it. So it's very important to us if we put something out on the menu, it's something that we've either eaten ourselves and believe in, or it's the way we eat.
That's great. Now, being the creative, can you explain what we have in front of us? This is what Kathy and I ordered for lunch. We wanted to have lunch when we were here. Food looks amazing. Kind of walk us through what we've got here.
Sure. So I'll start here. Sweet potato fries with apricot chipotle sauce. This is actually one of the few things, I think we're down to maybe 3 or 4 items, that started on the menu. We knew we wanted to have a fry. We found a sweet potato fry, and we cook them a little differently than everybody else does. We use a hot air fryer. We don't submerge them in oil. So there's no added oil here. It's whatever oil was on them when they were blanched commercially. And then our apricot chipotle sauce, which is, it's a fantastic sauce. I love it. It's a pain because, like Kirsten said, we don't put anything on our menu that we don't believe in. And so, whereas in a normal kitchen, I would just order the apricot preserves from my broadline distributor, and they would send it. It would have all this junk in it, and nobody would care. It would still taste good, and everybody would be fine with it. We know that all that other junk, although it still makes it taste okay, your body's not happy with it. So this apricot preserves, this sauce, actually has 4 ingredients. The apricots are raised on Mount Ararat, and it's from an import company that ships it from New York, and it's a little more expensive, but it's good for you too. You know what I mean? There's only that and pure cane sugar and lemon juice and water, and that's all that's in the preserves that we buy. Yeah. So then here, this is an item that's on our WIM menu. This is vegetable pasta. We use a Japanese vegetable turning slicer to cut it like pasta. Then you have a raw marinara sauce, and these are raw nut meatballs. So this is a completely raw plant-based dish, which is, we're getting a lot of good response with that. The vegans and the plant-based folks that come in here, I think they like that they can order something that doesn't have tofu in it, it doesn't have this in it, and it's not salad. So then here, you have the mango avocado salad. This was on the original menu as well. It's just gone through some changes. We've added sprouts to it, so you can get a little more of the vitamins and the minerals that are available in greens. Spring mix, fresh mango, fresh avocado. It has a raspberry jalapeno sauce. The seeds on top are sprouted pumpkin and sprouted sunflower seeds. And it's a good summer salad.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I can see why. It looks to me like there's something for everybody here. And to offer somebody the choice of, I mean, does anybody have a comment when they're eating the meat here versus meat elsewhere? Do they make comments on the taste difference?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because our meats tend to be cleaner. So we have people who say, I love your burger here, or I love your salmon here. I only will eat animal proteins when I'm eating here.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's almost like we take people who generally eat really clean in their everyday life, and we'll add something that they think is delectable, like an animal protein, only with it. And they know where we source our food. We know where we source our food, and they understand it's the cleanest version of that treat that they can get. So it's funny when somebody thinks that they're splurging here. I think that's just ironic, but yeah, but our food, we know where everything comes from, and we know every single ingredient that goes in. So does my staff.
Right.
So if you have a food allergy, and the entire menu, as you've seen, is color-coded based on food allergies or restrictions. My staff, either they know off the top of their head what's in something, our chefs know off the top of their head, or my entire staff knows where our recipe book is, and we'll bring them out to the table and say, this is what's in it. We don't go by the seat of our pants on it.
Right.
This is how it's made or it's not made.
That's a great advantage because I think there's a lot of food allergies out there today, and I think they're growing because of all the additives in food and processed foods all over the place. So to be able to customize a menu or know exactly what's in or not in your food,
right.
Awesome.
Yeah. What my favorite thing though is when people come in and I say, because we ask every table, what food allergy or restriction are we working with today? And when they say nothing, we just come in here because we really like to eat food that's healthy and clean. I'm like, yes. Because it's not just the standard freak at the table, it's the additional what we consider a freak at the table, which are the people who can't go to the standard restaurant and feel comfortable, that they know what's actually in their food.
Right, right. Why don't you share with everybody your location and your hours, if you would?
Starting June 1st, we will be closed Monday and Tuesday for the summer hours. We are open Wednesday through Friday, 11 to 9. Friday, Saturday, 11 to 10, and then Sundays, 11 to 9. We are in the Campbellview condo complex, which you may or may not be able to see on the video. So we are actually in the complex on the south side of that, just north of the Fashion Square Mall.
And we will post the location underneath the video as well, so make sure you know how to find it. So just in closing, anything else you want to share, please do. And what would be a message you want people to know about what Nourish is all about?
We're a place you should try, even if you think our food might be, quote, weird, because we don't have weird food. When you come in, most people will come in if you're... We get people who come in who drag the non-freak at the table with them because they know they're safe eating here, so the non-freak comes in, and they're usually like, it's going to be weird food. And they come, they sit down, and they breathe a sigh of relief when they see the sweet potato fries and the burger on the menu, or they see that they can get a standard salad that's normal. So we just do the really healthiest version of the normal food, and then we throw a few things in there that might be odd to the average person, but we keep those people after the fact. I love it when they're like, the food was so good, and it wasn't so weird, that we really enjoyed eating there. They're the non-freak as well. And the freaks to us are the best people because they get us. They're one of us, and it's fun.
Yeah, I'm a freak,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, and it's a term of endearment for us. I mean, when you feel like a freak outside of here, it's the worst feeling. asking the questions and still not getting what it was, or you get gluten, or you get sick off of something after you were told you were saying. And sometimes you don't want to be the person that's been pointed out to be the weird one at the table when all your other friends are like, oh, your turn to order, and they're like, is there this on this? And do you put gluten on your fries? And then you're just like, can I just be normal today? But here, everybody's normal. As great as you can be, you're normal.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this time and having us here, and we're about to enjoy a delicious lunch, and thank you for being a gracious host. It was a pleasure to meet you both.
Absolutely.
We'll be back. for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
So I'm going to just kind of go over the menu really quick. Something interesting that we do on our menu, and I've worked in a lot of restaurants, and I know that a lot of other places don't do this, is we have a key across the bottom, and it shows here on the front page, but then when you go inside, it references next to these items. So for example, sweet potato avocado salad is dairy-free, corn-free, egg-free, nut-free, vegetarian, vegan, and paleo. It does have, it's not raw because obviously we have to cook the fries. So what this does is it actually allows customers to come in that have food issues. We've asked them, is there any allergy or whatever at the table? They've answered. But then they can look at the menu and they can go through and vet it themselves and say, I like this or I don't like this, and that's a choice. Or I can't eat this and I can eat this. And they can look through and say, oh, I like the kale salad. Oh, it fits everything that I am. I'm a raw, plant-based person that can't have nuts. Oh, it has nuts, and then they can ask, are the nuts on it? Or, they can use directly to the question. They don't have to ask 10 million questions, because even though the folks that we have come in here do have restrictions, many times they feel less embarrassed to ask. We have people that will come in and say, oh, I can't have black pepper, but it doesn't say that here. I want to have this. What can I have? And we'll go through it with them. So it's a great thing. My daughter's gluten-free, my wife's gluten-free, and when we go to other restaurants, I actually have to translate the menu for them so they can decide what they're going to eat, because for me, it's easy to read through. This just makes it easier for the folks that are coming here to find what they want.
Awesome. Customization.
Yeah, and the cool part, and this is the thing I like the most, is we get folks that are gluten-free, and that's where it happens the most. And they'll spend 20 minutes looking at the menu, not trying to find what it is they can eat, but trying to decide what they want to eat, because they have so many choices.
Right.
Whereas in another restaurant, it'd be 20 minutes trying to figure out what they can eat.
They're trying to find that one item.
Right, and here they don't have that. They don't have that concern, because everything's gluten-free. And then it's just, oh my gosh, there's so many choices, what do I eat? Right. Which is fantastic. I really like that. So
Awesome.
that's our menu, yeah.
And no meal would be complete without a dessert, but in this case, a really healthy, good for you dessert. And of course, the executive chef here, Dan, is going to tell us what this wonderful creation is.
So right here we have a raw avocado cacao mousse. Really simple.
Wow.
It's avocados, and it's a raw cacao, 100% cacao. No, there's no sugar in it. It's just a cacao powder, and then liquid sweetener and a little bit of cinnamon, and it's pureed up, and it makes a really nice mousse. And then on top is a cinnamon vanilla crisp that we make, like a granola, to put on top. And then this is a Neapolitan torte. This is also raw and vegan as well, made with nuts. Yeah, it's
what's the
crazy.
sauce?
It's just strawberries and coconut oil. Yeah, we make a sauce. It's rare we do sauces, but when we do, they're like the purest form of a sauce. So when we do strawberry sauce, it's strawberries. There's no sugar added to it. We don't have vanilla to it. When we do raspberry sauce, it's just raspberries with coconut oil to set it a little bit. But that's it. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get busy eating. This looks amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.